Hey traders, in this short lesson, I will introduce you to the concept of namespaces. So namespaces in PineScript are what we call the keywords that contain certain functions or variables. So that might sound a bit confusing, but when I show you a visual example, it should make perfect sense. There are several namespaces that we have access to in our PineScript code. The first one I'm going to show you is the technical analysis namespace. So for example, let's say we want to get the RSI value. To do that, I can create a new variable called RSI, and we can assign this variable or initialize this variable using the equal sign. So RSI is set to, and then we need to reference the TA or technical analysis namespace. So if I write TA here, then a full stop, and then control space or command space on a Mac, we get a list of all of our technical analysis functions. So if I start writing RSI, here is our RSI function. And you can see here that it is underneath the TA or technical analysis namespace. So if I click on that, we pass in a price source, so close and 14 default period. There we go. We have an RSI value. And if I cut this plot down here and change the plot from the closing price to the RSI value we just retrieved, and I save the script, we're now plotting the RSI. So PineScript makes it really easy to access all of the most popular indicator tools that traders typically use, and you'll find all of your indicator functions under the TA namespace. So that's really it for namespaces. That's all you really need to know. You can also create your own libraries. We'll cover that later on in the course, but when you create your own custom library, it behaves pretty much identically to these inbuilt namespaces. So for example, if I type in import Zen and the art of trading, control space, here is one of my libraries I've created. If I import this as Zen, I can now reference my Zen library namespace the same way we did the technical analysis namespace. So for example, if I write here Zen dot control space or command space, we get a list of all of my custom functions. These are functions that I created, that I wrote in my own code in the Zen library script, and I published this to the TradingView platform. I can now reference all of these functions the same way we can reference the inbuilt functions that TradingView offers, or PineScript offers. But as I said, we'll cover libraries in a future lesson because it is quite an advanced concept. So I just wanted to make you aware of that feature. And so you can basically think of a namespace as a collection of functions or tools that you've written, either you've written or the TradingView PineScript developers have created. So before we end this lesson, we'll go over just a couple of other namespaces. For example, if we're dealing with strings, so text, this is a string right here. If I create a variable called myString and we just call this a string of text, I can now use the string namespace. So str is short for string. If I put in a dot and then control space or command space, we get a list of all of the different functions we can use relating to strings. So for example, if I set this to the text 10 and then I use the to number function and we pass in my string, if I cut that and paste that into our plot and save the script, we are now plotting the number 10 after using the string namespace to convert this text into a number. And there are a whole bunch of other namespaces. We have the strategy namespace when you're dealing with strategy scripts. So you have your trade commands and various variables that you can reference, such as your current account balance and things like that. We also have the request namespace, which we'll cover in future lessons. This is where you retrieve or request financial data about stocks. You can reference Quandl, which is a third-party resource that offers all sorts of things like sentiment, interest rate information, all kinds of stuff. We'll cover Quandl in a future lesson. And then we also have the security function here, which we use to reference other symbols and other timeframes. So you use the request.security function to request, for example, we're on euro dollar 1 hour chart here. Maybe I want to check what the daily high and low is. and then plot that information over this 1 hour intraday time frame. To do that, we would use the request.security function. And so that is a quick crash course on Python scripts namespaces. And we'll be using these frequently in our scripts. So you'll get used to using these and you'll soon memorize them all very quickly. Anyway, that's it for this lesson. I will speak with you in the next one.